Hello, everyone, and welcome to Human Design by Zsuzsi. I'm Zsuzsi, and this channel is about exploring different areas of life through the human design lens. If you like to get notified when a new video comes out, please press subscribe below, and please drop a comment if there are any subjects that you'd like to hear covered through human design. So today's video is about the top 3 reasons why people fight in relationships. Now, I'm focusing mostly on partnerships today, but this is true for all manner of relationships, whether it's family members, whether it's your children or friends, and also partnerships. So the top 3 reasons. First, you feel not seen or not heard by your significant other. You feel like a need is not being met, or you feel invalidated by them. So these all have the same flavor, but they're not entirely the same. They all lead into one another, if you will. So the first thing is not being seen or not being heard in a relationship. Most of us, when we first enter into human design, we find it so fascinating that human design gives language to so much of what we've already been feeling our whole lives. We just didn't have the words to describe it. So, of course, we never had a way of communicating it to other people. So we feel not seen and not heard in relationships because instead of being able to use the language that human design offers, we get cranky, we point outwards, we start blaming and shaming our partners for why they can't meet a need that we don't know how to express, or they cross a boundary that we don't know how to explain. A really good example of this in my life is that I'm a 6'2", which means I'm a hermit. And this requires a lot of alone time. The older I get, in fact, the more alone time I require. But when I was in my younger years, my first 30 years of life, I would usually socialize until I hit some sort of a wall. And then I would get really cranky. And I didn't really have the language to say, well, I really need to recharge. I really need to be in my own space. I would just start blaming my partner for why it was that I just wasn't feeling myself. And this usually led to a lot of door slamming. It led to a lot of contention in a relationship. And some partners were better than others with honoring my need for alone time. Even though I wasn't very good at communicating why I needed alone time or when I needed alone time. And it made me feel not seen and not heard, even though I was the one sort of responsible for being able to express that and not having the language to do it. And so, of course, my need wasn't being met on any level. And of course, I felt invalidated by my partner because most of the time they didn't have that same need. They didn't need their own space or their time to recharge. And so I was pointing outwards as to why they wouldn't honor something that I didn't know how to communicate. So human design gives so much clarity for anyone who's looking to be able to create a really solid foundation for a partnership, because what it offers is a way for us to communicate all of our needs, all of our boundaries in a completely neutral way. It's not pointing blame at anyone. It's taking full ownership for what it is that you want in order for you to show up as your best self in a relationship, because that is really what relationships are for, right? They're for creating a more abundant experience of life. And if you can show up as your best self in a relationship, not to say that you're never allowed to, have a bad day. It's not that you're never allowed to express when something is frustrating or when something is making you angry. It just means that the foundation for how you relate to this other person has a really solid base. And that is the place from which all communication comes from in your relationship. And to be quite frank, we all have been taught that the external validation that comes from a relationship is something to seek out. So being in a relationship means something about you, first and foremost, where human design says, we are all complete in and of ourselves. And so relating through human design is here as a bonus. It is not to complete you as a human being on the planet. And also, it's not here to validate you. The other person has their own life, their own experience, their own fractal that they're here to fly through time and space on. And this is just an opportunity to fly through time and space together. They're not here to complete your life. They're here to add value to it. And once you start understanding yourself through the system, once you start really trusting who you are, you can really start to love and honor yourself and recognize that anyone else who comes into your life is just here to make it more sparkly. It's just here to make it more fun, more joyful. It's not here to validate anything about you because you're already perfect exactly as you are. So not putting that pressure on another human being relieves a lot of the pressure on the relationship itself. It gives the opportunity for both of you to just breathe, to just enjoy the mundane moments of life. So the reason I wanted to create this video, first and foremost, is because I can see how human design is here to help us relate to one another, here to help us give language to our needs and our desires, and a way for us to really see each other in a very neutral and loving way. So I've created a series of workshops called the Conscious Connection series, and I'll be launching that very soon. Stay tuned for more information about that. This video is to really highlight some of the ways in which human design is here to help in relationships, and we're going to get much more specific through the workshops. So I hope you will join me. Thank you so much for listening. Ciao for now.